This is the NSU Basketball Coaches Show with head coaches of the Riverhawks, Jay Havens and Keith Ferguson. The show is hosted by Ori the Voice Phillips. The NSU Basketball Show is presented by the NSU Alumni Association. Joining the voice alongside is myself, Sean Solo, and William Captain Morgan of the Riverhawk Sports Nest podcast. The show is recorded live at 6 p.m. on Mondays at Emery's Grill in downtown Tahlequah. The show is aired on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on Lakes Country 102.1. The video portion of the show will be posted on the Rogue Radio Network YouTube channel Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Now, on to the show.
Recording from Emery's Grill in downtown Tahlequah, this is the NSU Basketball Coaches Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. I'm Ori Phillips, the voice of the Riverhawks, and I'm joined by the Riverhawks Sports Nest, consisting of DJ Sean Solo and Captain William Morgan. Alongside us are the head coaches of NSU Basketball, Jay Havens for the men, and Keith Ferguson for the women. Before we get to our conversation, we'd like to extend a big thank you to the program's presenting sponsor, the NSU Alumni Association. Membership in the NSU Alumni Association is the most visible way to show your Northeastern pride. Members enjoy exclusive perks and money-saving benefits and also support the Alumni Association's outreach efforts. Learn more about membership at nsualumni.com. The Riverhawks took the court for a two-game road trip featuring rematches from earlier in the campaign last week. The NSU women earned their first win against Pittsburgh State since 2013 in an 80-76 triumph Wednesday that saw them come back from a 12-point deficit and finish on a 39-23 scoring run. The win over the then 11th-ranked Gorillas was guided by 24 points from Deanna Douglas, matching a career high. NSU men took a 93-77 loss to Pitt in the late game, though the trio of Glenn, Blackman, and Weber combined for 55 points. NSU women saw a six-game win streak come to an end last Saturday against Missouri Southern in an 85-75 final, while the men dropped to the lines in a 77-64 result on Saturday. Starting last week, I've placed our Play of the Week candidates to a fan vote. All four candidates were from the Pitt women's game on Wednesday, and a strong 61% of the vote was given to Gabby Tilley's assist from the baseline to Snowda Wadey in the second half. Here's the call on Lakes Country 102.1.
Tilley takes it down, moves right side, two-point range against Swearingen, needs help, lunging forward, catches Snowda, going up, got the basket, and she's fouled. Gabby Tilley, one assist to Snowda Wadey.
So for a fourth straight week, Gabby Tilley is involved in our Play of the Week. But this time, 61% of the fan vote carried, so obviously had to make the decision. Got to go with what the people want. Coaches, give me your thoughts on last week. We'll start with Ferg.
That vote came in because you know what player on our team brings the most fans in, right? It's Snowda.
Oh, for sure.
Snowda's got more cousins in Cherokee County than anybody. I've never met a person.
She's got a built-in fan base.
Oh, 100%. She's got more cousins here than anybody. So Snowda got the vote. Gabby got saved for passing it to Snowda, for sure, because that was Snowda's vote.
They were like,
for sure,
get her the ball, get her the ball.
You know, obviously going on the road to Pitt is a tough place to play. They were at the Final Four the year before. They're a really good program, won the league, won the conference tournament. And we hadn't won there since 1997, and not one player on our roster outside of me was born.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of, even, Braxton, who's getting old as can be, wasn't born yet. She's getting old these days, she'll tell you. So that was good. It was good to fight back. We had a rough stretch in the third quarter and got down 12, and then our kids just dug in and battled back. And then so that was fun, and obviously some really good things happened. And in this league, when you go on the road and you play anybody, you're going to play a really good team, and the chances are you're going to walk back in the next game and play a really good team. And that's what we did with Missouri Southern. So that was frustrating. We've won 5 or 6 out of the 8 quarters against Southern both times, and we've got to mature better and not have, like, we got down 12 against Pitt. We can't have that kind of stretch against really good teams and think that's going to work out. So we've got to get better and dig in. And when we, I thought at Southern we didn't have a 50-50 call a couple times go our favor, and we got emotional about it, and we got to do a better job in just digging in and getting a stop or getting a bucket, whatever we got to do.
Yeah, tough week on the road for the men. Pitt can really shoot it.
Yes.
And they had one of those nights, and they got off to just a great start. and credit to them. And blame probably goes to us as well for getting in a hole. And we just were playing uphill all night. We made a run. We got it back to 5 pretty deep into the second half, and we're right there. And then they make another run. And we're just fighting for consistency more than anything. And Coach Ferguson said it well. I mean, there's just no margin for error. It's just an unforgiving league, and especially when you go on the road, you've got to be at your best in order to have an opportunity to put yourself in position. And we were not our best, and that's the result followed that, and then turn that around and go to Southern and. Our word is consistency right now. We have some offensive weapons, and we did not move the ball like we're capable of on Saturday against Missouri Southern. And I think when we do that, we're very difficult to guard. I think our offensive balance is a strength, and I think we've got to utilize that. And I think the more we share it and the more we move it, the more difficult we are to defend, and we're trying to emphasize that when we watch film and when we're on the floor. And I think if we can get that back, we're one of the better offensive teams anywhere. I think we can score with just about anybody, and just fighting for that consistency on the defensive end. And so life on the road is difficult, not much room for error, and we had too much error. We've got to correct some things, and great opportunity to turn around this week, coming back home and feel good about being on our home floor.
And we'll talk more about that in the next segment. Now we'll open it up to the Sports Nest. DJ Sean Solo has picks for Banger Players of the Week.
Well, before I get started in that, I just want to say, this league, I've always said that, the football side of it and everything else is, the SEC of college football or college sports. But our basketball, this league, I swear, it reminds me of the days in the ACC with the Duke and Carolina and the Marylands every week.
We're Big 12 fans. So like the days of the Big 12. The old school Oklahoma.
Old school, yeah.
Sean's
right.
a Duke guy, by the way.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let's keep it with.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. It's just that's global thing. That was my hot sports opinion there. But anyway, let's get back to the Banger player, and I have to give it out to the guys to Ethan Blackman. I mean, the kid had a solid performance. 2 very difficult games. He had 36 combined points. Shot pretty well, 13 for 19. He was 8 for 12 from the free throw line, total of 12 rebounds. I know he had the technical foul, which I don't even know what that was about from watching the...
He said, and one.
That's what he said?
All right.
He said.
And they teed him up for that after he got the ball hit in his head. Well, okay. Well, anyway, and I know that, kind of took him out, and we didn't get much after him. But still, it was solid week of performance against 2 tough teams. And then we already heard the play of the week. So for the women's side, Gabby Tilley, the big thing, Pitt State, 16 points, 10 for 10 from the line, and a couple steals. I mean, just talk about getting those. That is one of the biggest things is get to the free throw line, get those points, stop the clock, and she's just killing it. So there's my Banger players of the week.
Well, and we've had kind of a running joke all year on the broadcast. Gabby Tilley does not miss very often at the free throw line. And I'm inclined when somebody shoots well at the stripe to say their percentage. But almost without fail, the only time she ever misses at the line is right when I say she's about an 88% free throw shooter. Then she misses
say it
No, you're not supposed to. Haven't you learned in all the years of broadcasting?
The announcer's jinx is real.
Here's the deal,
It
though.
is.
I didn't say it at all in the Pitt game. I didn't say it at all in the Missouri Southern game, and we saw what we saw in those cases. But those are tremendous picks for Banger players of the week. I can't believe and one draws a technical foul in the MIAA these days.
Well, he said it in his face, and then that's what caused the retaliation. And so it was a double technical, which really,
It was,
in that case,
it
it
was.
just
Oh,
pushed each
yeah.
other out, and on we go.
But the problem was that was Ethan's fourth.
That
That
was
took
his
him
fourth.
out of the game for
Right.
pretty much the next 10 minutes. But I hate he hurt his feelings with those 2 magical words right there.
Wow. Well, Ferg, I'm gonna move some questions on to you. One thing that Ori had mentioned before the show was that Gracie Shield Knight had 4 steals, which was pretty impressive in the game against the guards. And I mean, Sean had mentioned it as well. So just had to give her an honorable mention right there. Mention her right there. And if you want to talk a little bit about it, you can. But I also want to talk about Dayana. I mean, as the voice had mentioned, she matched her career high. She had 19 of the 35 first half points against Penn State. So one of the things you talk about her confidence, and then also with the steals with Gracie, if you could.
So Gracie's always been more than capable of being. We knew she was a pretty good player. Like that's not a secret. Gracie, we were in a tough spot with some injuries and different things, and she had to play a backup 5, and she's not. She's a 4-man, and had to play some 5 and her and D because of our lack of depth at that position early in the year. So she had to play more, and then now that we've got Corey in tow, the problem with Gracie is sometimes she gets so aggressive that she picks up fouls, right? And Gracie's and I love Gracie. Like she's fun to coach. She's a quick trigger. Like that fuse to blow up is tiny, and Gracie's gonna let you hear about it, right? And that's what's great about her, right? I mean, that's some of the best thing about her is she's so passionate and she's so excited about playing and doing different things, but also because she's so passionate, sometimes she's like a bull and sees red, and then it's like, hold on, how can we slow this down and talk her off the ledge? But again, she's since we've plugged her into that starting role, she's been fantastic and really helped us do a lot of things. She rebounds well. She's a great passer. She grew up playing a point guard until all the injuries, and now she's kind of a stretch 4, and she passes and sees the floor so well and can do some different things. And then Dee's she's our wild Mustang, man. Like that kid, like when she's going, it's like, holy cow, watch out.
Can't stop her.
But she's got to learn to be, and she's learned to be more consistent and better. Sometimes it's a fight with her on different things, but she's a great kid, great teammate. Sometimes she wants to just be too relaxed, and we need her to be more like, hey, go cut somebody's throat. You're really good. And I think for her, like, that's a hard thing. Like, she doesn't want to be – I think she doesn't, like, love the attention at her because she's just such a selfless kid, and that's hard to take the spotlight. And she needs to understand she could do that a lot. Like, she could go be one of the best players on the floor every night. And it's just – sometimes I don't think she believes it, and we believe it in her. I mean, she's done it before and done a lot of times, but she's a wild Mustang, man. Ride that kid and let it go, see what happens. And great kid, and both of them great kids, and really excited how their game's gotten better as the years stretched on.
Well, Coach Ferg, I wanted to go back to some of the stuff against Pitt State. You guys had the defensive pressure. You had like 30 points in turnovers that you guys scored. You guys were going 20 for 21 from the charity stripe, and then unfortunately that second period against Southern was just, it was killer to the team. But, watching the team battle in Pitt State, but then that game against Southern, the team battling back that second half. I mean, you guys outscored them the second half against Southern. What did you learn? What did you learn about your mental toughness? I know you talked about post games, like you were just so happy that they didn't, just throw in the towel and that kind of thing. But what did you learn about your team this weekend from that?
We didn't lay down, and I think it was a great opportunity to learn. Like I said, a lot of 50-50 calls that could go either way. We were on the road in the MIAA. You ain't getting it.
Right.
And let's be honest, too, Southern's been in the national tournament. If you play Southern, Pitt, Central Missouri, Hayes, some of those teams with some names, you're on the road 50-50 calls. That's not happening. Like, I don't care what league you're in.
Yeah.
Teams that have been in the national tournament get that call at home. Like, that's just how it is. I'm not saying anything nasty about officials or anything, but you're going to get this. So how do you respond when those calls don't go to your way? And I thought, we got, I think it was like 15 or 16 free throws to 2 in the second quarter. And I was responsible for 2 of those 16. So I'll take complete blame for that. But when things are going not in your favor, how do you respond? I thought our body language was a little questionable on what we could have done. I thought we could have rallied together a little bit better, and instead we kept looking over at the bench and, well, I'm doing this, they're hooking me or whatever. And like, guys, that's not the reaction. And when we have a team full of sophomores or freshmen that are playing a lot, they've got to learn that. And I thought our kids bounced back and recovered. They didn't lay down. They didn't cry about it in the third and fourth, but you've got to have a level of maturity, and until you've gone through those things, basketball coaches understand once you don't really know until you go through it, and we got to find out if we can learn from that, because guess what? We're going to go on the road again. We're going to go against teams that have been in the national tournament recently that are big names, and we're not going to get that call. And that's not, again, that's how it is.
Right.
So you've got to be able to maturely handle that and then go, okay, well, I'm going to get a foul if I do this, so I got to figure out a way to get a stop. I got to figure out a way to get a bucket. And that's when those teams you're like, okay, you're really good. You figured it out. Yeah. Those things don't bother you anymore. So we've got to grow through that, and I think we're trying.
Well, now I want to switch over to Coach Havens. Again, tough weekend, but some of the things we saw, X, Blackman, Nemo, they combined for 55 points at Pitt. So what did you like to see about those three players work together offensively?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but I think our offensive balance is a strength.
Yeah.
X has been consistent. He's been efficient. We need to get Ethan going. That helps everybody. He draws a second defender. It's also a paint touch. When we touch the paint, our offense is very efficient. That is something that comes up quite a bit in film and practice, and that's a point we're trying to get. Like, we have got to go through the paint, either throwing it inside or on the drive. But I think those guys do play well off each other, and they have different strengths. And I think that if you're going to be any good, that's what you start to figure out. January, February, you play off of each other's strengths, and I think hopefully we'll get that message absorbed.
Would you call them your little three-headed monster, do you think?
Well, at times.
Yeah.
And then we've had others. I mean, Taven Washington stepped up and had
Right.
big games for us. AJ's had big games for us. It has to be an understanding that, okay, if he's got the hot hand, feed a fever, starve a cold, let's go with the guy that's getting it done at that time.
I love starve
I know.
a cold. Starve a cold. I need to use
It's
that word.
a hard-earned
that down.
lesson that we're still living with.
I love that.
We've got to, but I think really, I mean that's got to be our. I mean, we that's got to be our identity. Like we have good offensive balance. If they want to key on someone, try to take someone away, well, that opens up an opportunity for someone else that has ability as well, and that makes us better. So
Right.
I think. We've got almost a third of our season left. I mean, it's February, so we've got a month left, but 8 games is just a little under a third of the season left. We've got a lot of games to play, and it's not too late to keep learning and keep improving, and that's our message right now. Let's get a level of consistency, and let's allow our offensive balance to be a great strength for us.
Right.
Well, Coach, you kind of answered the question about the identity of the team that you're looking at. So why don't you talk a little bit about, you've got a lot of new, your team is relatively new earlier this year. We had Ethan on earlier and Taven on, and they had talked about, the gelling of the team earlier this year. So talk about like how now that they've been going through some things here, talk about what you're liking about what you're seeing from them.
Well, I think one thing that has been, characteristic of our team, I think they do get along really well, especially off the floor. They're pretty competitive. We can get the juices going in practice, and that can be a good thing if it's used correctly. But I think this is a pretty tight group. I think there's obviously some imperfections and some things we're trying to work through on the floor, but off the floor, no issues whatsoever. They're great to be around. They get along well. I think there's great team chemistry. We need to carry that onto the floor, and make that be a big part of who we are when it's time to compete, and use that to, be your brother's keeper, have your brother's back, and let's make that an identity on game night that we're here for each other and we're going to fight for each other.
One thing that's certain about the MIAA, even entering the last month, especially on the men's side, it's a very close race. The only constants for men's basketball in the MIAA right now, Washburn's up here, Newman's down here. But then entering Saturday, 2nd and 13th place are only decided by 4 games. 4 games apart.
Wow.
So these next 4 weeks are really going to decide just about everybody's seasons. And we'll talk in the next segment about the start of that final 8-game stretch with Fort Hays State and Nebraska-Kearney at home. But a great conversation so far. Before we go to break, I have a great announcement to share. NSU Athletics is excited to relaunch Roundup for the Riverhawks through our newest partner, Elevate, a simple way to support all River Rock teams by rounding up your spare change. Link your card, round up everyday purchases, and make a real impact. Participants receive 25% off all NSU game tickets and season passes, and the first 100 supporters are entered to win great prizes, including an NSU Nike N7 jersey, signed memorabilia from the Oklahoma City Thunder and Texas Rangers, one of 10 2026-27 all sports passes, and more. Stay tuned to NSU social media for more updates in the coming days. Round up, give back, and rise with the Riverhawks. Let's pause briefly, and again, when we come back, we talk Hays, we talk Kearney. It's on Lakes Country, 102.1. Welcome back to the NSU Basketball Coaches Show. We'll continue the conversation, but first we'd like to thank our official radio sponsors for the season. Without their support, this show would not be possible. The NSU Alumni Association, Archer Cleaners, Cherokee County Collision, Chick-fil-A, Tahlequah, NSU College of Extended Learning, Riverside Liquor and Whirling Dervish, Rose Rock Coffee, the Shockley Group, Tahlequah Family Vision Clinic, Northeastern State University Relations, and the Wash Bar. And after a week of road rematches, we face 2 new teams for the season schedule. We're free from the Hays-Kearney trip this year. That is very good news for the green and white. They're coming to the nest for this week's games. The Hays women's side 12-game winning streak come to an end last Saturday against Central Missouri, but it was just their second loss against 19 wins. They were the 5th-ranked team in the land last week. Hays men have lost 2 in a row, but one of those was an overtime defeat to number 1 Washburn. Nebraska-Kearney women are 1-6 in true road games, while the Kearney men are only 2-6 on the road, and they've lost 3 in a row overall. Coaches, give me your thoughts on this week's opponents. We'll start with Havens.
Well, Fort Hays is one of those teams. Just every year, you know what the game's going to look like. You can just count on it. They're gonna turn it into a rock fight, and they're really good in those situations. They're going to limit possessions. They're going to fight you defensively. They're going to be physical. They're going to contest shots. They're going to block you out hard. They're going to make you defend for 20 to 25 to 28 seconds every time down the floor. And they're really comfortable in that realm. And so you've got to maximize your possessions. You can't have bad possessions. You can't have turnovers. You can't have questionable shots. You've got to make sure when you have the ball, you're doing everything you can to earn good looks. And then on the defensive end, you've got to stay disciplined to stay in the possession and finish, because they're going to test you on that end. And you mentioned they're coming off a tough week. They've got Washburn beat. They're up 8 with 2 minutes to go and end up getting beat in overtime. And it's one of those just, bang, bang plays, and it gets away late. And I know they probably felt a very, emotional loss that night and then end up losing on Saturday. So they're going to be a hungry team coming in. And, we've got to be a hungry team. And they're coming to our place. And we've talked about going on the road is hard to win. And we need to make that the case for them coming into our place. And we need to be at our best. And they're going to pose a great challenge for us, and we've got to be ready to go.
Well, Coach, I'm going to move over here to Coach Ferg. So Fort Hays is their first in points. Obviously, they're a tough team. I can go off on all the stats there. And then Nebraska-Kearney, they're top 3 in their field goal percentage. So this week, you're going to get tested. Your defense is going to get tested. So tell me about what you're looking at. Maybe if you could talk about the personnel or what you're looking at there without going into too much detail.
Well, credit to Hays here. You lose 2 All-Americans, right? Like they had 2 All-American seniors last year that graduated, and you're thinking, okay, good, they're going to take a little step back. And no. They might be almost as explosive as that Pitt State offense was last year. They're just a well-oiled machine. I mean, they go. Everybody wants to talk about Telexa Weeder, who's an incredible player. She's leading the country in scoring, but their point guard Lowe is maybe the best point guard in the country. I mean, she's top tier. She's had a game of 17 assists. Yep. Like, I would love my team to have 17 assists, and she had 17 by herself. So against a D2 opponent, it wasn't like they were playing,
Kansas Christian
slappies from somewhere. I don't know. Say insert
local YMCA chapter.
But so Hays has done such a great job. I mean, their offense just flows, and every kid they put on the floor can score it a little bit. I mean, they've just got so many pieces that you've got to kind of pick and choose how you want to get beat, right? Like, you got to decide, I'm going to make this kid beat us or this kid beat us, and they could. I mean, that's the hard part about it. They're a really well coached team, and they've got a lot of parts, and they'll be really good. And then you go to Kearney, and Kearney's struggled on the road a little bit. They've battled injuries all year. They score it in a lot of different ways, but they've got the same situation. They've got a senior point guard who won a conference title before this staff was there, but won it with the last staff and won a conference title. So she understands just what winning looks like and how to do it. So really 2 of the best point guards in the league we're going to see this week. And and we were talking about, right, like this league, every game is a little. So we played Pitt, who at the time was tied for first in the league. Then we go to Southern, who at the time is tied for first in the league. And now we get Hayes, who was first in the league all year, and they lost one the other night, so they're in second. So, it's just how it goes. I mean, and that's why you love the MIAA. It's so good. There's so many good players. I mean, I laughed. 2 kids that couldn't even make honorable mention in our league are playing Division I and starting all the time, and that team's good. And you're like, yeah, you weren't even a very good player in our league. So there's no rest for the weary. You got to be ready to go every night, and both teams are a different challenge how they play. So it'll be really interesting to see what we can do. And again, like Coach Havens said, being back at home, we've got to make it a tough environment. I got a feeling our band's going to be at their best. They haven't had a good home game in a while. They're going to be top notch. We've got one of the best cheerleaders in Oklahoma, and Callie Atwell will be there leading that squad. So she's going to be ready to go, and we're excited about everything we got and our fans, and it'll be a fun environment.
On Saturday, we got a
and you're going to have the People's DJ up there too.
Got the People's DJ.
So I'll be up there as well.
DJ.
So you talked about the guard play. Obviously, Weeder and their point guard play, and she's leading the nation with 21 points or 28 points averaging.
I wish it was 21.
If it was 21,
I think we'd be good.
I feel a little.
But
better
when you have those kind of players that they're just dominant. They're going to get their points. I mean, that's just part of it. But defensively, limiting their touches, not having the clean looks is key. With how Gracie has been these past few games, being great rebounder, ability to get steals. How do you see her effectiveness?
Well, she's going to be a big part in guarding Telexton. And the one thing about like Hayes, you sit there and go, okay, do you go old school Pistons on Jordan rules? Because if you
he goes up, hit him.
If you look at Weeder's stat, like her shooting percentages are incredible. For the amount of she's averaging 29 a game and shooting close to 50% from the field and 40% from three. I mean, the kid's a stud.
Yeah.
So it's not like, we're in game 20-something. It's not like she hasn't seen every kind of defense thrown at her by now.
You're not going to surprise her.
So yeah, exactly. So you hope you can contain her a little bit, but if you put too much focus on her, other kids are going to score. So like I said, it's a little bit like. You let her be like the Pistons did, and Jordan, like he's going to get his, but he's going to get hit, but then nobody else is going to score, right? Like, how do you do it? And there's a lot of different ways and methods, and we'll see. We can't do what Central does. Central Missouri did because they're 5'10" and bigger across the board. They can switch out 1 through 5, and that's not us. We got to figure out a way to put our best players in a situation to cause them some problems, and hope it works out. We've had some. We've played them well before, especially here at home, and I'm excited to see what our team's made of. They had a loss and we had a loss, so let's figure out who's going to bounce back best and see how it goes.
Well, Coach Havens, I'm going to move over to you. So when you got your team shooting pretty well, so against Fort Hays, that's should be a pretty competitive game. You've shown that you can score against Nebraska-Kearney before. But right now, so you've got a different roster. So what matchups are you feeling good about heading into this week's game?
I think for us, it really comes down to are we sharing the ball and moving the ball. When we're at our best, we're doing that. And I mean, we repeat. I mean, there's certain phrases just when we talk about our offense that our guys have heard a million times. And I just think we need to get back to trusting the pass, throwing it to the first open guy. Get them on the run and keep them on the run, touch paint, make the one more. I mean, all those things they've heard a million times. When we're doing that, we're pretty efficient offensively, and we're shooting right at 50% on the season. It's one of the top, efficiencies in the country. We just need to be the best version of ourselves, and I think when we're doing that is when the ball's moving with some pace and we're unselfish and we're establishing paint touches. And so that's going to be the key, whoever we play. And I think you're going to get a great defensive performance from both teams we're going to see this week. Like we talked about before, there's no secrets in the league. They've got every game we've played on film. They're going to try to take away, what we do and vice versa. So you've just got to be really, really efficient, really smart, really unselfish, take the right shots. And we've shown when we do that, we're pretty good on the offensive end.
Tons of big storylines for Fort Hays State Nebraska-Kearney games this week. One of them, obviously, is the fact that we're back at home looking for a great crowd turnout. And one final question for both of you guys. Thursday night, it's Faculty and Staff Appreciation Night. Saturday is our Green Out and Alumni Day, so hopefully we can bring a lot of former players back for that to support us in that game against the Lopers. But talk a little bit about the festivities, a couple big nights of basketball coming up.
Well, our student athletes, getting a chance to honor faculty and staff, and I think that's a really important event. And then thank the Alumni Association, in particular Beth Ferguson, for all the work she's put into Alumni Day and reaching out to not only our ambassadors but as many former players as we can. And I know as a busy parent, sometimes it's hard to make a game, but the more alumni we can get back in the gym on that day is special, and we want to have that connection with our alums. And so two big events for us, and we're looking forward to it.
I'm excited. Anytime you get a top 10 team in the country to come in at Tahlequah, it's going to be fun. And we've had some great battles with these teams in our few years. And it'll be a fun event. Getting the alumni back, I know we've got a great group that's already reached out and want to get involved with it. And shout out to Beth Ferguson again. We got to give her some love on that. She has really exploded our ability to do things and reaching out to alumni and fundraising and different things. Her and Fletch have done a great job, and we're lucky to have them here at NSU and what we're able to do and get more people in the stands. So it's fun. We're excited. It'll be a fun week. Get down to the event center and the Nest and watch two pretty good games.
Next, we have the Captain's Catch with Captain Morgan. He'll look at a player from both teams. He's got his eye on for this week. We also get final thoughts from the table. It's next on the NSU Basketball Coaches Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. Welcome back to the NSU Basketball Coaches Show, presented by the NSU Alumni Association. We have a few more things to get to. First, a reminder, we will be live on Thursday for a 5:30 tip-off for the women's game against Fort Hays State. The men will take the floor after, again, Lakes Country 102.1, the official radio home of NSU Athletics. Coverage begins at 5. Saturday, we'll be live at 1 for the women's tip-off at 1:30 against the Lopers, featuring the men's game after that. And Captain William Morgan, he's got his picks for the Captain's Catch. Take it away.
It's the captain here for the men this week. The Captain's Catch, I've got Mr. A.J. Reed Jr. Every good ship needs more than a star. It needs a worker. My Captain's Catch for Riverhawks. He brings energy, defense, and effort that doesn't show up on the compass but wins battles all the same. When the waters get rough, Reed's the one steady in the deck. Arr! That's my men's Captain's Catch. Now, for the women, every crew needs muscle below deck, someone who handles the hard work. My Captain's Catch for the Riverhawks women is Dayana Douglas. She owns the paint, fights for the boards, and brings a physical edge that travels everywhere, anywhere. When it comes into battle, D is ready to dig in. That's the Captain's Catch of this week.
I like it. One final reminder that the most visible way to show your Northeastern pride is through membership with the NSU Alumni Association. Make sure to download the Green and White Network mobile app for alumni and tap the Coaches Show tile. Fill out the form to enter to win a $25 Visa gift card while you receive a generous discount offer for Alumni Association membership. Just for taking time to fill it out. We'll do our weekly drawing now. I will preface by saying it's not going to be Coach Ferg Havens doing it this week. It's going to be Sean to prove that this game is not rigged against Mandy Joe. Go ahead.
Put me in, Coach.
Just know the doghouse has a seat for you if you don't pick the right name. This is for the gift card. Let's see who he's got.
Oh, please, come on, man. Come on.
Better not be looking in.
Dang it. It's not Mandy Joe, but it is Laura Israel. So congratulations. Laura.
Big congratulations.
Yeah. Hope you enjoy the gift card. Just kidding.
That was a little stiff, Sean.
I'm sorry. I apologize for you.
Angry.
The fortunate thing is Mandy Jo has at least 3 more cracks at it for this season, so she will live to fight, or in this case, draw another day. Laura Israel, our winner of the gift card this week. Another great show in the books. It's great to be back at home. I'll say it's great to not have to go to Hays and Kearney for basketball this season, because that was quite the trip last year. I mean,
Amen.
Hays is surrounded by cornfield. It's 7 hours away. Then you go to Kearney. Then after that, it's 9 hours back. I'm glad it's in the Quad, but Sean, your final thoughts.
I'm just looking for the energy for this weekend. I can't wait to be in the Nest and help with the green out with the alumni and everything like that. Can't wait to see these girls put games together. Can't wait to see the guys get out there and run and push the ball and all that stuff. So I'm just looking forward to a great weekend of basketball.
Absolutely. And as much as I love watching the game at Emery's Grill here when y'all are out of town, I really enjoy y'all being in town more. So glad you're back in town. Glad with the festivities this week with the alumni for Thursday and the faculty and the staff. And then Saturday's green white. I'm sorry, yeah. So I'm looking forward to this week's festivities and having DJ Son Solo in the house. And y'all putting on a good show on the court.
Yeah, make sure you wear green on Saturday, by the way. Stick with the theme if you absolutely can. I'm saying this is one of my favorite NSU shirt is black. I'm going to be wearing green for this upcoming game against the Lopers. Final thoughts from the coaches. We'll start with Havens.
Big opportunity, big chance for us to rebound this week. As you guys mentioned, can't wait to be on our home floor in front of our fans, and that's always something we look forward to.
Well, Beth over there, my wife, hates Hayes, and she's a great bender and Great Bend, Kansas. So you guys just don't understand her hatred for Hayes. Like, she won't spend money in the town; she spits at the town. Now it's more for Hayes High.
Wow.
It's only
Spits
for
at
Hayes
the
High.
town. Whoa.
I can confirm.
Yeah,
She
spits
adamant.
at the town when she drives by. It's mainly for Hayes High because she's a Great Bend alumni. It's going to be a fun opportunity, man. Hayes is good; they're playing well. Kearney's a good team, and again, I'm with you guys. We don't have to go to Hayes and Kearney. I love that. The only thing is, Jay and I got to stop by my grandpa and grandma's for a little lunch on the way up. That was the only thing that was kind of worthwhile. Now, we obviously didn't have as much fun as you two did going to Kearney, Nebraska. But that's maybe another chat for another time.
We might have to revisit it on the Sports Nest.
I think
that'll be a separate segment.
That's a different segment.
And we might need to dive into the Beth Ferguson connection on the
Beth just
the abrasiveness of.
She hates. It's a Great Bend high school throwdown. She hates Hayes more than anybody.
She has a visceral reaction.
I mean, she will start shaking on Hayes, like just shaking. Wow. It's awesome.
She's looking back at us like, she's confirming.
I don't know why I'm getting glared at. I'm saying she doesn't like Hayes, but Fort Hays is okay.
Just not Hayes.
Hayes. Oh man.
Okay. Noted.
Captain,
write this down for the next.
The amount of times she's rolled the
Sports
window down and spit at Hayes, it's amazing.
Nice.
True hatred. I love it.
Goodness, I think it's a good thing this was a talent qual then. This has been the NSU Basketball Coaches Show presented by the NSU Alumni Association. We'll catch you Thursday night.
Thank you, fellas.
So really, like.